Afghanistan's projects often go unnoticed by other nations. Some are astonished that a country plagued by continuous conflict and economic decline can still manage to construct infrastructure that enhances the quality of life for its citizens. Meanwhile, its neighboring countries, grappling with their own issues, now face potential crises due to Afghanistan's projects. One such project, a water dam completed in 2021, has escalated tensions with Iran, which fears severe consequences, including the possibility of part of its land being devastated. Other nations are also concerned about the broader environmental impact. The project in question is the Kokand Dam, constructed in southwestern Afghanistan on the Helmand River, the longest river in the country. The river originates near Kabul, the capital, and extends over 600 miles toward the southwestern border. The dam is located near this border. Afghanistan as a whole struggles with limited rainfall, but in this specific region, precipitation is so rare that even a few drops are a moment of celebration for the locals. Over the past 40 years, the area's annual precipitation has peaked at only about 6 inches. To put this into perspective, the Sahara Desert, one of the driest places on Earth, receives around 3 inches of rain per year, meaning this region gets merely double that amount. Surprisingly, farming exists in this arid landscape. While groundwater is used for irrigation, the primary water source is the river, especially the Helmand, since rain is unreliable. The river's significance is immediately clear from satellite images, as most farming activity occurs along its banks. Move even slightly away from the river, and the land becomes barren, incapable of supporting any crops, even those requiring minimal water. Additionally, the Helmand River is essential for drinking water. People naturally settle near a steady water source rather than digging wells, which may not always provide safe drinking water. Thanks to the river, locals can at least partially meet their basic needs for food and hydration, even in such a harsh environment. However, there is a significant challenge: rivers do not provide a consistent flow of water at full capacity year-round. Their levels depend on climate conditions, especially snowfall in the mountains. Less snow means less water in the river, and Afghanistan has experienced multiple droughts due to fluctuating river levels. Between 2008 and 2010, the water supply for both people and agriculture declined sharply. Another drought hit in 2012, followed by several more. In 2024, Afghanistan faced its worst drought in 30 years, receiving only 45 to 60% of its usual precipitation. Compared to previous years, this decline in rainfall has directly affected the Helmand River, the main water source in southwestern Afghanistan. To combat the negative effects of diminishing river water, Afghans have turned to the most logical solution: building dams. By blocking the river, they create reservoirs to store water for future use, ensuring availability for drinking and irrigation during dry periods. One of the major dams in the region is the Kajaki Dam, which can hold 449 billion gallons of water. In addition to securing water reserves for drought conditions, the reservoir facilitates irrigation channels, enabling the cultivation of approximately 640,000 acres of land. The dam also features a hydroelectric power station with a capacity of 151 megawatts, supplying much-needed electricity to an area with limited power access. Further downstream on the Helmand River lies the Kokand Dam. Construction began in 1974, but like many other infrastructure projects in Afghanistan, it remained unfinished for decades due to instability in the country. It was finally completed in 2021. The Kokand Dam stands 52 feet tall and spans 295 feet at its base. While its size pales in comparison to some of the world's largest dams, or even to the upstream Kajaki Dam, its impact is still significant. The reservoir created by the Kokand Dam can hold 13 billion gallons of water, much less than Kajaki's capacity. However, in the event of a drought, water released from the Kajaki Dam can sustain the Kokand Dam's reservoir for an entire year. Additionally, This dam has made it possible to irrigate 432,000 acres of land that would otherwise remain barren. The Afghans did not overlook the importance of energy generation when constructing the Kokand Dam. They installed a turbine that produces 9 megawatts of power, significantly less than the Kajaki Dam, but still a crucial source of electricity for a region struggling with energy shortages. In essence, the Kokand Dam is a standard dam helping to retain water and make life in the barely habitable southwestern region of Afghanistan somewhat more sustainable. However, dams inevitably alter the distribution of water, benefiting some areas while reducing supply to others. Unfortunately for neighboring Iran, the consequences have been severe, since the country lies downstream. Even before Afghanistan initiated the Kokand Dam project, Iran was already concerned about the impact of Afghan dams on the Helmand River. The construction of the Kajaki Dam long before had already sparked tensions, leading both nations to negotiate the Helmand River Water Treaty in 1973. Under this agreement, Afghanistan was obligated to supply Iran with 216 billion gallons of water per year under normal conditions while reserving the remainder, roughly 980 billion gallons, for its own use. Considering that the Helmand River's average annual flow is around 1.2 trillion gallons, the agreement seemed reasonable, especially since 95% of the river is located within Afghanistan and only 5% within Iran. Neither country initially contested the terms of the treaty. However, conflicts did arise. Between 1998 and 2001, Afghanistan completely blocked water flow from the Kajaki Dam, cutting Iran's supply to zero and severely impacting border communities. After that, relations remained relatively stable until 2021, when the completion of the Kokand Dam raised new concerns about reduced water flow. By 2023, Iranian officials reported that they were receiving less than 4% of the promised water allocation, an alarming shortfall with dire consequences for the border region. Aware of the vulnerability of its water supply, Iran responded by constructing several artificial reservoirs with a combined capacity double the amount allocated by the treaty. These reservoirs collect and distribute water to nearby areas. But even with this measure, Iran continues to struggle due to the Kokand Dam's impact. Satellite imagery illustrates the dramatic shift in water availability. A 2022 image shows the Afghan reservoir in dark blue, indicating a significant water supply, while Iran's artificial lakes appear in light blue. Compared to 2021, Iran's largest reservoir had vanished entirely by 2022. The importance of these reservoirs cannot be overstated, especially for the Iranian border region where conditions are as harsh as in Afghanistan. Rainfall is scarce, yet agriculture remains the backbone of the local economy, demanding a substantial water supply. Additionally, the city of Zabul, home to over 13,000 people, relies entirely on these reservoirs for its water needs. Even a minor reduction in water levels is a significant concern, but the near-total disappearance of the supply has created a full-blown crisis. This situation highlights how water scarcity, combined with geopolitical tensions, creates a cycle of conflict and environmental degradation. The extreme temperatures in the region, annual averages of 72 degrees Fahrenheit, with summer highs exceeding 95 degrees Fahrenheit, make the Iranian border area an increasingly harsh place to live. Despite the dire situation, there are potential solutions to ease tensions and improve water management. Strengthening diplomatic agreements, improving water infrastructure, adopting modern irrigation methods, and shifting to less water-intensive crops are all viable strategies. Though none of these solutions can completely stop droughts, a combination of better water management, improved irrigation, and agricultural reforms could reduce the severity of the crisis. If Iran and Afghanistan successfully implement these strategies, the Kokand Dam may no longer pose such a significant threat to the region, ultimately reducing tensions and preventing further environmental disasters.